Alright, so this is my first video in a while. Haven't been doing too much traveling around, mostly because I'm making plans for kind of a big trip for the holidays, but found a really cheap destination for a little area called Yeongcheon. And it's really cute, like a lot of farmland, like kind of rolling hills. There's a river down that way, and I've had to cross it a couple times, kind of back and forth. And way off there, got some nice mountain views, but some right there. This is my first trip since I've been to South Korea, where I've had like one goal in mind, and granted it looks later in the day than it is, but it's actually kind of midday, and part of that has to just do with the season changing. But usually when it comes to my other trips, it's always been like, oh, I need to go to this major city, oh, I need to see this because it's nearby and well known, or hey, I want to see the ocean. Usually things like that. However, this time was different. This time, me and some of my friends from California, who I want to shout out and say thank you for introducing me to this, because I am fascinated at the prospect. I don't want to waste the punchline until I see it, and if I don't see it, if it's not here anymore, I'll explain. But in the meantime, I kind of want to savor the moment, savor the surprise, and see how things pan out, because a lot of the sources that I had to look up to find this place are older. Not super old, but definitely like internet time frame. You have to wonder how reliable it is after 3 or 4 years. So anyway, I at least wanted to mention that I'm in Yeongcheon, and I'm gonna see if I can find what I had in mind. If I can't, then that's fine. I'll explain what it is, but until then, I really hope I can just show it while I'm explaining it. All right, let's carry on. Alright, so I think I just about reached where I was supposed to be, and I saw signs of things that matched up. Like, looked like there was a little bit of a little religious institution, saw a big cross, looked like they had a couple different buildings. I think one of them was like a restaurant, so it seemed interesting. But yeah, there wasn't a lot that like anything else could have been. It was very empty, besides some farmland, which looked like it had been pretty well kept. I mean, everything seems to be doing pretty good out here. And yeah, no statue. I'll make sure that I have pictures right before this part showing what I saw, where, yeah, there probably was one. Like, there was a very big square base of like steel beams that were probably bent down, so they're not jutting out, but they probably would have been support for the Buff Jesus statue. That I am disappointed that it wasn't there. I would have been overjoyed to have seen it. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, the Buff Jesus statue was apparently a bit of an internet thing for a little while. It was kind of making the rounds, and people wanted to know like what the heck it was, and they did narrow it down to Yeongcheon, which is where I'm at. But again, that was, like I'd mentioned previously, that was a couple years ago. Like, the last post I had really seen about it that mentioned any location was in 2018, and in internet time, that is practically a decade. As far as I'm aware, like, there was no website that was frequently updated for this religious institution. And even then, this statue itself, I think, was commissioned by a retired pastor based on some of the research that I found. So he's probably living his best life. But yeah, I don't think the statue is there anymore. I went into an area that they didn't have like gated off, so like I wasn't insanely worried, but like it didn't feel like the most public space, so I was like constantly checking, like, I'm not seeing signs, I'm not seeing chains, like I don't think I'm not allowed to not be here. And I got a little worried when I was comparing some of the pictures of where I was to the statue, like the pictures of the statue and the area around it, because there's only like 2 pictures that I've seen of it. And while I was comparing, this little man was coming over, I guess, to check and make sure wasn't up to anything, which is fair. I mean, like right next to where he was, like just making sure no hoodlum is up to anything. And then I explained to him, like, sorry if I'm intruding. I didn't think I was, but I was just looking for a statue. And he was like, oh yeah, like based on what I could tell with like him pointing in the very little Korean I got, he's like, yeah, I was there. I'm like, okay, and I explained to him after that. I was like, okay, well, since it doesn't seem to be here, I'll be on my way. I hope I wasn't intruding. And he was like, no, it's fine. So he was a very sweet man about it. I mean, he didn't yell at me as soon as he saw me, so I got that going for me. Hey, and as far as I know, maybe he was the pastor that commissioned it, and he just lives on site. Who knows? Yeah, so bit of a dud, but I think the excitement of the prospect was rewarding in itself. I mean, it would have been amazing to have been able to see Buff Jesus. And again, if you're not familiar, look it up. Like, look it up now, or wait till I show a picture of it at the end. Yeah, this is not just some carpenter's son. This is like WWE. He was the son of a carpenter. He was WWE himself. Like, he was turning water into whey. He was able to move the stone from the cave by himself, no help from the angels. Like, he was not just walking on water. He was like doing cardio on water. What else? I feel like I could think of so many more. Like, they write themselves. And there was one more that was really good. Oh man, dang it. As soon as I have the camera in front of me, I'm like blanking on all the jacked Jesus jokes, because it would have been so great. The Last Supper would have been pure protein. That's another one. Yeah, no, it would have been fascinating. So I'm disappointed that it didn't happen, but it is what it is. It's part of exploring. It's part of like figuring out things on the internet, if they are even things. But the area that I'm in is really nice. Like I said, a lot of farmland, but it's not like super rural. Like, it's still pretty nice. I honestly can't think of anything to like compare to. But yeah, so bit of a dud, but I got to see another town, so I call that part a success. In the meantime, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and head back home, because again, this was the one thing I was here for. I was only in Yeongcheon for Buff Jesus, and because it didn't pan out, I will simply leave it to the end of this video and show off one picture or two, because again, there was very little information on this. I was surprised that the internet got as far as it did. But yeah, it is what it is, so we'll go ahead and proceed from here. Anyway, take care. For all my friends and family that are keeping up with me, I appreciate y'all. And yeah, hopefully I get some more videos like this out there, and some other goofy shenanigans. Alright. Okay, so small update for the end of my video. One thing that I'm learning when it comes to these towns where it's not a major metroplex or anything like that, a little out of the way, I need to figure out the public transit a little bit better, because when I recorded the last part of the video talking about how I couldn't find Buff Jesus and that sucked and blah blah blah, I was waiting at the bus stop for maybe an hour or two, and that was not fun. So yeah, that's just part of it. I've gotten used to pretty good transit with like subways in Daegu, and even easier access to taxis and buses throughout all the places I've been. Not even going as far as subway, but yeah, it's yeah, that took a while, and yeah, as you can tell, it's dark now. The most amount of time I spent was waiting for the dang bus. I just went to this little place like pretty much across from me, What was it? Kimbap Nara. Cute, like sweet people there. And very curious about me, just asking some questions and trying my they were trying to accommodate me with some English, and they were very sweet. So I was trying to reply with as good a Korean as I could in return, and they seemed very, very happy about it. Because they kept asking questions and talking to me, so I was like, hey, cool. Yeah, nice little meal there, and yeah, still that was quicker. That was quicker than waiting for the bus. Like, my goodness. And yeah, so that'll be something to keep in mind. But oh, I also remembered the last joke that I wanted to make about Buff Jesus. Blessed is he who skippeth not leg day, because Buff Jesus did not skip leg day. Like, he got everything taken care of. He got like that 18 pack, but he also made sure leg day was not skipped out on. So yeah, just a last minute part of the video that I didn't think I'd be making. I thought I'd be home by now, but here we are. I'm still in Yeongcheon. It's dark, although it's only really close to 6, I guess, which is still kind of early, but whatever.